হুম হুম, রেকর্ড অন করে দিচ্ছি। So just starting the unit 3 of 103. This unit has got both theoretical part and practical part, and here in this unit including the material here. But let us start this 403 unit 3. Now harvesting, you all know that is harvesting, but
স্যার কথা কেটে কেটে আসছে, শোনা যাচ্ছে না স্যার। স্যার আপনার কথা শোনা যাচ্ছে না কিছুই স্যার।
কখন থেকে শুনতে পারবি?
স্যার
হ্যালো।
অনেকক্ষণ থেকে ফার্স্টে স্যার একটু জাস্ট শুনেছি, তারপরে কিছু শুনতে পাইনি।
ঠিক আছে, নেটওয়ার্ক প্রবলেম আসলে এত মেঘ করে আছে। এনিওয়ে লেটস হোপ আমি নেটওয়ার্ক পাল্টালাম, দেখা যাক। আর আদারওয়াইজ আমার পক্ষে বুঝতে পারা মুশকিল। হুম। হ্যাঁ, যাচ্ছে তো শোনা এখন নাকি? হ্যালো।
হ্যাঁ স্যার, এখন শোনা যাচ্ছে স্যার, এখন শোনা যাচ্ছে স্যার।
লিঙ্কটা শেয়ার করার পরে শুনতে পাচ্ছ কিনা দেখো তো, আমাকে বলবে। লেট মি শেয়ার
ওকে
দ্য
স্যার।
স্ক্রিন। কারণ এমনও হতে পারে শেয়ার করার পরে যেহেতু নেটওয়ার্ক ব্যান্ডউইথ বাড়ছে। নাও।
হ্যাঁ স্যার, দেখা যাচ্ছে,
হ্যাঁ
শোনা
এখন
যাচ্ছে।
শোনা
হ্যাঁ,
যাচ্ছে স্যার।
শোনা যাচ্ছে তো?
হ্যাঁ স্যার, এখন শোনা যাচ্ছে।
তার মানে ব্যান্ডউইথ প্রবলেম ছিল। ওকে, সো আমি যেটা বলতে চাইছিলাম যে আমরা এখানে ইউনিট 3-তে যে দুটো অপশন এখানে আছে, তার মধ্যে একটা হচ্ছে হারভেস্টিং আর একটা হচ্ছে সার্চ ফেডারেশন। তো হারভেস্টিং ব্যাপারটা কি? হারভেস্টিং মানে হচ্ছে ইউ আর গ্যাদারিং আর কালেক্টিং মেটাডেটা ফ্রম ডিফারেন্ট ডিস্ট্রিবিউটেড ডিজিটাল আর্কাইভস ইন ওয়ান কমন প্লেস। আর সার্চ ফেডারেশন মানে কি? সার্চ ফেডারেশন কোনো একটা সেন্ট্রালাইজ জায়গায় মেটাডাটাটাকে আনছে না, মেটাডাটা যার যার রিপোজিটরিতেই থাকছে। ও তোমার থেকে কি করছে? ইট ইজ কালেক্টিং ইয়োর কোয়েরি and forwarding your query to all the services you have selected, or those which are selected by default. Either you can select it or it can be selected by default. So it is basically forwarding your query to the end, in fact the data provider end, and you are basically accessing the service. So to give some more enhanced or rich services to your user, that's why you are called service provider. So সার্চ ফেডারেশনই বলো কি সেন্ট্রাল ইন্ডেক্সিং বলো, দুটো ডিফারেন্ট মডেলেই কিন্তু দুটো এন্ড রয়েছে। ওয়ান এন্ড ইজ ফর ডেটা প্রোভাইডার এন্ড, অ্যানাদার ইজ এন্ড ফর দ্য সার্ভিস প্রোভাইডার এন্ড। ডেটা প্রোভাইডার তোমাকে মেটাডাটা দিচ্ছে, অ্যাজ এ সার্ভিস প্রোভাইডার ইউ আর কালেক্টিং দ্যাট মেটাডাটা to generate new kind of services for your users. Okay, so this model are in this way these two are quite same, but where is the difference? In case of search federation, you are getting the latest data from the back-end data repositories, because every time you are making a query, that is a real-time query. That is the advantage. What is the disadvantage? Disadvantage is that when your number of repositories grows from 10 to 20, 20 to 40, 40 to 100, definitely the response time increases. So for 10 repositories, you are searching something on cataloging. So 10 repositories, backend repositories are there, you are getting result in 2 seconds. Now the moment it is becoming 100, your response time will be 20 second or 30 second or 40 second. So the gradually network response time decreases with the number of back-end repositories. But the advantage is that every time you are searching, you are getting a real-time access. Whereas on the other hand, in case of centralized modeling, this part is completely different or completely opposite. In a centralized model, it collects metadata from different distributed resources, create one central index, and on the top of that central index, it creates a very sophisticated retrieval system through a user interface where user can search, they can go for advanced search, browsing, faceted navigation, geodetic search, creative browsing, serendipity, all kind of modern things can be supported if you are having that metadata in one place. And the moment you need the full text, there is dc.identifier for Dublin code, or in case of mark format, there is tag 856. So those tags, dc.identifier or 856 tags, can gives you access to the full text resources. As a user, you do not have to know from where it is coming. You will think it is coming from the same central index, but central index contains only metadata. The dc.identifier and tag 586 is basically connecting you to the full text. The advantage in that case is that network response time will never decrease, because you are handling a set of metadata. How big it is, it does not matter. So it's a basically metadata. One record may have 1 MB of metadata. So that does not matter anything to the modern relational database management architecture, and users will be getting, very high speed network response for centralized metadata. But the problem is that the moment you are harvested, your database is outdated. Why? Because suppose I am running a centralized model. I harvested last 10 a.m. today. So you are searching now at 1 p.m. So you are getting what I harvested up to 10 a.m. You got my point. But in case of a search federation, it never happens. You are always getting the real time because you are connected to the backend data repositories in real time. Every time you are forwarding the query. But here you are harvesting and then you are providing services. So most of the cases, centralized model overcomes this limitation through a cron job. What is a cron job? A cron job is basically a kind of scheduler, a routine, script that every 20 minutes or every 30 minutes goes to the backend repositories, collect the new metadata and reindex it. So once it's just like capital expenditure and recurring expenditure. One time you are harvesting the lot, you are indexing it. Next time when your crawler goes there, it collects the metadata. Normally we call them harvester or crawler. They collect the metadata, they send it back to the central index, and central index indexes it. So process is quite regular, every 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour, as per your requirement, or even every day at one given point of time, you are harvesting and you are keeping your things updated. So these are the two models, but you know that the search federation is the earlier generation model, although many softwares are still there like Godot and etc. But people are slowly switching over to the centralized model. And most of the cases, the open source discovery system, what we are going to learn, Viewfind or Blacklight, another superb discovery system, or the commercial discovery system like EDS, serial summons, OCLC, WorldShare, all are basically nothing but centralized model of indexing or centralized harvesting model. So there, one particular component of this, model is the harvester. So harvester can be included inside a discovery system. For example, Viewfind includes an harvester itself, or harvester can be utilized separately. Nowadays most of the software, Omeka you have seen, Greenstone you have seen, DSpace you have seen, in most of the cases they have inbuilt harvester, although these are not as efficient as standalone harvester. So what today we are going to learn, that is how to handle a standalone harvester, how to go for different kind of OIP image verbs. There are 6 verbs, right from third semester you are utilizing it, and how you can handle, how you can install, how you can configure, and I will show you that how you can harvest local data sets as well as the global data sets. So let's start with this one. The more software we are going to use is basically an open source software. There are many software available in the harvester domain. I will try to provide you a comparative list in the theoretical part of it in the unit 3. And here we are going to show you the practical applications. So the best possible available open source harvester presently is called OHS, Open Harvesting System, from PKP. This is possibly called Public Knowledge Project. Public Knowledge Project, PKP, is a project from Germany. Under this project, we have excellent tools like OJS, Open Journal System, OHS, this one, Open Harvesting System, and they have also created OMP, Open Monograph Press. So these 3-4 softwares are very useful for the library people, those who are running standalone journal. Then OCS, Open Conferencing System. So all are helping different knowledge institutes like universities and research organizations. এখনো অবধি সাউন্ডে কোনো ইস্যু নেই তো?
না স্যার।
না স্যার,
Okay.
ঠিকঠাক আছে স্যার।
So if I search by OHS, Open Harvester System, that is called Public Knowledge Project, you can go here. And don't worry, it's just another LAMP-based project. So you have already installed many such projects. So it's not a new thing for you. So this is called Open Harvester System. Now Open Harvester System, you can see what is the requirement. If I go for the download part, here you can see the other one, OJS, OCS, OMP. So I'm going to download. Now here it says that what it does require. So it requires a perfect LAMP architecture, you can see. So the latest version of OHS is possibly version 2.3.2. So long back. But still it is a very stable version. Most of the people are using it. So it requires PHP version 4.2 or X. Most of the cases we have 7.4 or 7.2. MySQL or MariaDB. Well, it works with MySQL, but I do hope it will also work with MariaDB. I never tried. Let me try this one. Apache and operating system any OS. Windows, it's basically XAMP architecture. X stands for any OS, AMP, Apache, MariaDB, MySQL, PHP. So it's perfectly fit our situation. So let me download it first. That is the latest version. So I'm downloading it, OHS 23.2. So I'm downloading it in my local folder. Then you know the game. I'm not going to explain every detail, because in case of you have any question, you may ask, but I don't think you have any question because it is so known to you, the entire process. So it is OHS. So OHS I am extracting here. So now it is a folder. Now I want to transfer this particular folder to Apache VAD. So what is the command? First you go to cd download. And let me check whether inside that is the folder. Okay. So what I will do, then I will copy this. So this is the folder name OHS 2.3.2. So let me copy sudo or move simply. Why copy? Move OHS 2.3.2 under var www html in the name of say OHS. I am not using the version name. So I am just transforming or copying this particular folder, what I have extracted then in the download folder, to the var www html OHS. Now let me check whether it has gone there or not. Okay, so OHS is now there possibly on this alphabetically. So this is OHS.
স্যার স্ক্রিন শেয়ার অফ হয়ে গেল তো স্যার।
হ্যাঁ, সাউন্ডও তো শোনা যাচ্ছে না।
কি গো, শোনা যাচ্ছে না?
স্যার স্ক্রিন শেয়ার অফ হয়ে গেছে স্যার। শুনতেও পাচ্ছিলাম না স্যার।
কি হচ্ছে রে বাবা? কখন থেকে অফ হচ্ছে?
স্যার ওই তো আপনি যখন এইটা দিলেন, সিডি ফার্স্টের পার্টটা দিলেন যখন সুডো পাসওয়ার্ড দিয়ে, তারপরে অফ হয়ে গেছে।
স্যার এই পর্যন্ত ছিল স্যার, ঠিকই আছে স্যার, এই পর্যন্ত ছিল।
আচ্ছা, ওকে। সো হোয়াট আই হ্যাভ ডান, এখানে তুমি দেখতে পাচ্ছ কমান্ড আমি কি ব্যবহার করেছি। আমি ডাউনলোড ফোল্ডারে গেলাম, এটাকে এক্সট্রাক্ট করলাম। এক্সট্রাক্ট করার পরে সুডো এমভি করলাম। এমভি করে ডাউনলোড ফোল্ডার I transferred to vat.html in the name of OHS. Then I came to this HTML folder and now changing the this one, the permission. This is not a production system, so I am utilizing 777 to avoid complications. But in a real time live production system, this should be chmod 760 or 750. Anyway, I am using 777 and this capital R, you know, this is for the recursive, all subfolders of OHS. Now the moment this is over, I can now go to OHS to read the instruction. Instruction will be the same, you know, for all LAMP package. These are to some extent similar. So this is OHS. Now, is there any readme file? There is no readme file. Okay. So possibly, let me come here whether there is any installation instructions are there or not. Installation instruction is only required to know the setting of the config file. What should be the name of the config file? For installation instruction, decompress the downloaded file and consult the readme document. If you continue to have difficulty in installing, okay. So there is a readme document. Let me search where is that readme document. Installation, there is a folder. No. Docs, readme. So under docs folder, there is a readme file. So what this readme file tells me? It tells me that extract the harvester, make the following files and directory writable. Okay, we made it. Config.inc.php. Open a web browser and follow the on-screen installation process. So here you can see it is saying that a ready-made config.inc.php file is there, and it is not telling you to create any backend database or user first. So possibly the browser will take care of the creation of database and user if you supply the MySQL root password. Localization, it requires that you need to use your localization. So for our case it will be UTF-8. Okay, so there is no big deal. Now it is asking me, what it has asked me, that you just go for the installation process. So this will be your local host, then your path. My path is OHS. So let me try what it gives me. OHS. now you see the possible thing is that it is giving you a blank space. Then it is a nightmare for a lamb based package. Why I am saying so? Because in case of a lamb based package, most of the cases it does mean that the present program is not compatible with PHP anymore. So let me see that what. In fact, I have never tried that in PHP 7.x. PHP up to 5, it is okay. But many days there were no improvement. So let me check the Apache log, what it says. Var log Apache 2. Okay. So it is not actually giving me any error. So let me try that. Where is the installation file? Directly sometimes it happens. Now config ilc.php. Let me check what it is. So base URL is localhost. So this will be changed for my case. It will be localhost by OHS. Date format MMDB. Keep it, later on we can change. Okay, so let me see what does it do. Index.php. What it is telling you, I am giving index.php. That's a dangerous sign. If you are getting nothing, I don't think it will solve the problem, but still let me try. That driver is MySQL, host is localhost, username, let me give it OHS, password, let me give OHS123, and username, say OHS. So that means I am creating a database, OHS, name of the database, then username is OHS and user password is OHS123. So let me, if it is required, it can give me an error, but as it is not giving me error, I am suspecting the non-compatibility with PHP 7. Okay, so let me enter here. I'm not explaining actually what I'm doing. You all know that what I'm doing. I'm creating a database, creating a user, and giving that option. OHS. Let me select UTF-8. UTF-8 Unicode. Then OHS is there now. Now I am creating a user. Host is localhost. Password is OHS123. OHS123. Then schema privilege, let me select, add entry, select schema, so OHS, select all, apply. So I have created one DBMS, DB, OHS, I have created one user OHS and with password OHS123 and given permission to OHS database. So my MySQL job is over. You can do it from the command prompt also by following the Tematrace model and other models what I have shown you. Now we have changed this one accordingly, but I don't think it is going to solve our problem because it's perfect indication of non-compliance with OH PHP 7. So what should be the way out? Why it has not developed after 2.0.1? But still it is the most popular still in the web. What is my PHP version? 7.4. Just I am checking that whether upgrading Open Harvester from PHP 5.2 to PHP 7.1. Oh, OHS is not compatible with PHP 7, but let me check, there is an option. Open harvesting and peaceful application. OHS table 2.3 branch. What does that mean? OHS table 2.3 branch should be working. Old stable. So unfortunately, it is not compatible yet, but let me try something that which is stable 2.3. Someone is saying that this old stable is compatible. Okay, so this one is compatible. It saying PHP 7.1 greater than 7.1 is requirement. So I will share, if it works, I will share this to you, this URL. So let me download the zip file. This OH is stable. So I am now again downloading in download folder. Then let me remove this one. So I'm removing the earlier version and trying to utilize this version available from GitHub, which is actually they're saying it is compatible with PHP greater than 7.1. We all have minimum 7.2, so don't worry. So let me try this one. I downloaded this and the download folder. So possibly this one. So extract it here.
স্যার লিঙ্কটা চ্যাট বক্সে দেবেন।
আগে কাজ হচ্ছে কিনা দেখা যাক। So harvester. Now let me copy this. CD downloads, then MP harvester 2.3 to var www.html with the same name OHS. Okay. I missed sudo, so sudo. Okay. So now I have, let me now chmod. So OHS came, now I am changing mode. Okay. So let's see what happens. Where www.html. We have already created all the databases and other things. So OHS. Okay. So let us read here the installation things, whether a new instruction is given or not, or it's the same old one. So PHP 7.1, MySQL 5.6. A secure deployment, dedicate a database to OHS, use unique credential to access it. Fine. So this part is over. We have created database, created user, given permission. configure OHS config.inc.php to use SH1 hashing rather than MD5. Configure to force SSL login so that authentication will be by HTTPS. Okay, fine, we don't need. Extract, make the following files only open web browser, OHS, and follow the on-screen installation instruction. So it is saying you do not have to create additional post installation. So it will create config.inc.php in the process. So possibly it is saying that you do not have to create database earlier. So it will create on the process, during the process. So let me still the same thing. Now it is actually generating the wrong PHP warning. Required leap input bootstrap file failed to open still no such file. Line 61. Failed opening required leap PKP input bootstrap file 61. There are a lot many issues. But it is not going to work. In fact, because the bootstrap it is not getting. It is a fundamental thing for this one. What it is. Okay, so I need to investigate further that what files it is not getting and how to recover it. Meanwhile, for today's class, let me show you another harvesting process. That's
স্যার
actually
বুটস্ট্র্যাপটা কি?
Bootstrap is an HTML CSS file. এই যে তোমরা HTML এর CSS ফাইল করো না, তো বুটস্ট্র্যাপ হচ্ছে একটা থিম, যেটা মিনিমাম থিম, যেটা মোবাইল এবং ল্যাপটপ দুটোতেই কাজ করবে। Nowadays people also access through mobile, so it's basically a CSS controller, and that file it is not getting. So maybe I need to configure separately, but that require time. But meanwhile, let me jump to. I will try to solve this. That's why it is not working. Meanwhile, let me show you which is actually our target, because this harvester, one particular harvester, standalone harvester, is not our target. I tried actually to so that you can get acquainted yourself with the steps and the processes. But definitely that you will be doing. Give me one more day to deal the problem. But our target is basically to use a harvester system inside a discovery process, because for the paper on LSP, library service platform, as well as I told you that additionally I will also show you that how a discovery process works if you have your Koha, Omega, Greenstone, everything ready. So let me show you that how this harvesting process included in a centralized search model. Let me start my viewfind. So this is actually our target. So this is the home folder of viewfind. Viewfind uses Solr retrieval engine. So before accessing viewfind over the web, we need to start our Apache Solr. So solr.sh start. So it will start Solr, and the port we can configure the port. By default, present Solr version runs on the port 8983, but I changed it to 9090 for easy remember, because I am running Tomcat on 8080 and this viewfind on 9090. But by default it runs on 8983. You do not have to change this one until and unless there is a pressing demand. So you see here localhost viewfind. So this is the interface. Now what this interface does, it basically, say for example here presently I have only 3 instances of Koha. Koha Cat 1, Koha Cat 2 and Koha Cat 3. There are 3 different instances running at the backend, and that 3 interfaces I have collected all together. So people do not have to go OPAC 1, OPAC 2, OPAC 3, they can come here. Similarly, I have here my DSpace. So I'm starting my DSpace. So DSpace, my Tomcat started, which is required for DSpace, and let me start my Greenstone also. CD USR local Princeton 3. Then I am starting my Princeton. Okay. Now suppose what I am going to show you, I'll first try to show you that how in the this is a centralized index. So everything coming in the centralized index, and centralized index is available in Solr. You know that I am running Solr in port 9090. So if I call my Solr, so you can see here that this is the central index. So there are 4 cores in ViewFind. So we are basically interested in this one, BiblioCore. So in BiblioCore, you can see that number of documents all collected from 3 different instances of Koha in one single place. Now what I am trying to do, I want to integrate here in the same interface through harvesting by utilizing the harvester component of ViewFind, because a discovery system has basically 3 components. One is the harvester or importer, which harvests or imports document inside the system. Then there is an indexer, which indexes the harvested material. And third component is the user interface, this one, through which a user can search, they can browse by call number, by language, by format, all collection in one place. So I do not have to, suppose my library has 3 instances of Koha and 1 instance of DSpace, 1 instance of Greenstone. So my users need to go through all 5 different user interfaces. Instead of that, I am trying to give them a single user interface, and that is called a discovery system based on the centralized model, as I told you. Now my target today is to include DSpace and Greenstone here. So let me show you. I have now 248 resources. Now you can see here in Solr, one particular point of advantage is that if you want to know everything, then this is called search nothing for everything. You give nothing here and click find. It will retrieve everything you are having from all these 3 collections together. Although people do not search in that way, but sometimes as an administrator, we need to know that whether 248 documents are available or not, and from which library how many documents are available. So I have just, it is now gathering empty document. So here you can see, it tells me that it can give me 240 number of document, because although I have 248 number of document, it is giving me 242 because I have utilized deduplication. Deduplication means suppose this book is available from all 3 libraries. So here you can see, it can show you. So this is the 2005 editions of the book, and this is the 2007 edition of the book. So 2005 editions available on all 3 libraries. So it can deduplicate. Instead of showing this book 3 times, it will show you one and tell you that where other 2 versions are available. You are getting this. Deduplication is a very effective tool for large scale database. So suppose when you are gathering data from different libraries, so there every chance is that some books will be repeated. So in case of the repeated book, how to deduplicate it? Slightly difficult skill, little bit of programming knowledge is required, but still it is possible in ViewFind. That's why it is showing me 242, not 248, because on the top of this 248 number of documents is actually deduplicated this 6 books, so it is now reduced to 242. Okay, anyway, so it can also tell me that from which library how many documents are coming, 145, 245, and library 6 it is coming 156. So in this way I can go for different kind of, as I said, the different kind of sophisticated searching and This is the, so it actually gathers metadata from different sources. So this is the advanced search where any number of field you can add. You can limit to any number of class number, this year to that year. You can remember the advanced search interface of Base. Base is basically built on the top of Viewfind, and it's quite similar. Then you can browse by call number. So you can browse the catalog here. So by call number, so it can automatically fetch TTC data if available, and you can see here social science, second order division, then under social science, third order division, and within bracket it can tell you that how many documents are here. You can also do one particular thing that is an advantageous. You can generate a map of your collection. Say all 242 number of documents. Now I want to know the strength of my collection. In which subject field I have more number of documents, which subject field my library is not covering at all. So if I switch to the visual mode, it can create a map of my collection. So as per the DDC number, you can see now that science, social science, history, literature, religion. So suppose this green is for 500 science. If I click here, so it can again give me the second order division under science. What are the different areas I am covering? So in this way you can anytime you can again move to the list mode. This way we can actually go for different kind of sophisticated browsing. Alongside, I can call my geographic search. So you can see that what magic we can do with the harvesting metadata. It can tell me that how many. So far, I have not experimented quite greatly here. So only two places are covered. One document contains two places. So here it can show me that what are the places and what are the books available. So these are the two books available. I can browse right from here. So this particular geographic browsing is quite useful for the documents like travel guide, historical document, and documents where place names are important, geological data set, geographical data set, to create a map library. For example, I can also search a given area. Say in this area, how many documents are there? It says me that the area I have selected, one document is there. Now I want to see which document. Now click it. So now it can tell me this is the details of the document, and I can also see here, apart from if it contains geo coordinate data like 034 data, what both RIAs are doing, 034 tag. So this 034 tag can be utilized for different kind of indexing. What went wrong? So I'm slightly experimenting with this. Map display keys I am not set. It is telling me that it is still in the development environment, but the moment you click this map tab view, so the detail of the mapping with this particular document deals with will be coming. Let me try with this document. What happens? A comprehensive field guide to medicine. No. So this map level I have not yet set up, but when it will be setting up, the moment you come here, it will display a map under this particular tab. So these are some of the issues what we can do. But let me show you that how I can harvest my internal system as well as some of the external system. Let me try that one. So today I am going to show you the internal one, Displace and Greenstone, and tomorrow I am going to show you that one, the external one, day after tomorrow, alongside a solution to how to install this one. If it is compatible with PHP 7.1, then it's a matter of time to make it compatible with 7.4. So it does not matter. So anyway, let me show you this one, Displace and Greenstone harvesting process and indexing process. So first I need to check that whether my Greenstone is OAI-PMH compatible or not. That's why repeatedly I was saying you when I taught you Omeka, Greenstone, Koha, that you make your system OAI-PMH compatible and check whether 6 verbs are working or not. Okay. So let me start with this Greenstone. Greenstone has it been started? Started now. Okay. So this is the OAI server. It is giving you that this is the base URL for OAI server. So I can open it up, open or copy link address. Then I am opening it up here. So if your Greenstone is all types of documents you are covering here, and if you call this localhost :8383 Greenstone 3 OAI server, the moment you start here, it will give you the OAI server, and by default in Greenstone 3.0 OAI is on. If you not off it, it is always on. So not much of the work you have to do. Then these are the 6 verbs. So identify, verb is equal to identify, you can see here. Then it is identifying the repository. Then verb is equal to list set. How many sets are you having? Set means your collection, number of collection. So I am having demo collection, tutor collection, test1, CHIS, Lucene, and so on. Then what is the metadata format you are supporting? So here it can tell me that what are the metadata format I am supporting. So it is supporting OAI DC metadata format, means DC formatted in OAI. Then I can now get the list identifier. Identifier means set identifier or record identifier, both. So you can see each record is having an identifier. In case of Displace, it will be the handle. So in this way, the final will be the list record. So these 6 verbs are basically a base of negotiation. Your service provider is actually negotiating to the data provider. Here Viewfind is the service provider. It will be negotiating with Greenstone automatically to identify, to list set, to list metadata format, and finally to list record. So all the records I'm having, I can have it from. Okay. So this is all about Greenstone. Now, if we want to see the same thing in case of Displace, so it is localhost :8080 JSPUI, but here it will be OAI. So base URL here you can see. So this is localhost :8080 OAI request, then I have given identifier. So if my OAI PMH is now compatible, my Displace is compatible to OAI PMH. Okay, I have given the wrong spelling for localhost. So let me correct it. Localhost :8080. So if your Displace is also by default OAI compatible, and you can trinker it through OAI.ch file. So here it says that what is my repository name, in which one is available, then sample identifier, you can see the handle identifier, and then I can go for the other verbs like list sets. So how many collections I am having. Then similarly, I can list identifier, support of metadata format, records, and so on. So it listed.
স্যার বলছিলাম
বলো।
ডিসপ্লেস আমাদের ইনস্টল করা নেই।
হ্যাঁ নেই, কিন্তু তোমরা তো কাজ করেছো।
হ্যাঁ স্যার, ওই তো সেটাই বলছি
করে
স্যার,
নেবে
কাজ করেছিল
installation।
আপনার লোকাল হোস্টটা।
সো আমি যেটা দেখাচ্ছি তোমাদেরকে কিভাবে ডিসপ্লেস এবং ব্রিজস্টোন যদি থাকে লোকালি হারভেস্ট করবে। তোমাদের ডিসপ্লেস নেই, তোমরা তো প্রসেসটা জানো, আমি একদিন দেখিয়ে দেবো। ইনস্টলেশন প্রসেসটা না হয় আমি আপলোড করে দেবো, ইউ ফার্স্ট ট্রাই, না হলে আমি দেখিয়ে দেবো।
হ্যাঁ স্যার, আপনি
So,
ওটাই বলেছিলেন যে একদিন দেখাবেন ডিসপ্লেসের।
আর সেই দিন তোমরা মনে করে না একটু ফোর্থ সেমের যারা পাস আউট তাদেরকেও একটু খবর দিয়ে দিও, ওরাও আমাকে ফোন করেছিল ওদেরও।
হ্যাঁ স্যার, ওরা আমার দাদার বলেছিল আমাকে কয়েকজন যে যেদিন ডিসপ্লেসটা করায় সেদিন বল।
Okay, so this is the number of collections I am having in my displays. This is the number of metadata format it is actually giving me. Time displays takes time, little bit of time because of the Tomcat memory issue, but when it is first time it is over, then it will be slightly easier. So now let me try to show you that how I can harvest and how I can import. Import means they are indexing. So I told you that these will be two separate processes. If we go to the core part of this one, USR local unified, then you can see that there is a folder called harvest. So this includes actually routine operation. This includes only script. This script is basically this one, harvest.oi.php. So as I said that any discovery interface, any centralized model includes three parts: the harvester part, the indexer part, and the user interface. So user interface you have seen. Now we are going to show you that how to harvest it, and then I'll show you how to import it. Import is basically indexing. So these two are different routine schedules for any discovery, be it commercial, be it open source. So in the harvester process, this is basically the script which generates or which harvests the things you have declared. Now what should be harvested? That is to be declared by the local folder. So in the case of local file also, I am having a harvest folder. So this harvest folder is basically collecting all the harvesting, metadata, all the metadata it is harvesting under different folder, and the folder name will be the section name I am given in this particular configuration file. Let me show you. I have a sample configuration file for you here. This is my sample configuration file. So when I will call my harvester, first it will check that whether this OI.ini file is available under the local folder or not. If available, then you can see these are my all material I have given for different sections. Say this is about this is about DSpace. So section name is DSpace. URL is basically the base URL. Base URL you already know. This is the base URL. Every time why it is going to my IP address, I need to check. So every time I'm calling something, it is going there. And now my IP address is slightly different, so it is not giving me smoothly. Wait, let me check this local host. Colon 8080. So you can see now that this is basically my base URL, localhost 8080 OAI request. So I have to give this base URL here. So you contact this URL. So this localhost can be replaced by any IP address, any domain name. So you can harvest things globally also. Then what will be the metadata prefix? So you can see here, if I click this verb is equal to metadata formats. So again, it will create some problem with my IP address, because somewhere I have given this IP address as a permanent one, and it is trying to go for 198.87. But as I changed my network, my IP address has also changed. So you can see that what are the metadata format it will be supporting. I will be coming again. So you have to give that metadata. I am collecting metadata in OAIDC format. So what is basically the ID search we have to use here? The format is there. Sample configuration file is provided for DOAJ. So on the top of that, I have created one for DSpace, and DSpace I have created this one. This is the ID search. That means here you do not have to change anything. OAI will be fixed. Then I have given my this local address, localhost colon 8080. ID replace, I replace this one with IR. IR stands for institutional repository. ID search will be the default as it is. ID replace, do not have to change anything. So rest of the things are quite common. You have to change only two things. One is what is the base URL. This will vary from system to system. IP address may vary, then your domain name system may vary. Then what metadata format you are going to harvest, in which format, OAIDC, and the ID search. ID search part you just after OAI colon you replace with your IP address or domain name with port. So that's all. So my section name is here DSpace within third packet. Similarly, in the same line, I have created one for GSDL3. So GSDL3, you can see the base URL is this one. What I got it from here. This is the base URL. Then what set I can also go for the set. What particular set I want to harvest. So I have selected that demo set. The name is Lucene JDBM demo. Then metadata prefix, here also I am selecting OAIDC. Here also I am giving that GSDL3 demo. Here two demos is not required actually, so delete one particular demo. So GSDL3 demo dot, and every time it will be ended with a dot. Here also you can see in this space also. So don't worry, this is actually the sample file they have given that you can utilize here. Now GSDL3 demo replaced by demo. Okay. So these two sections I have created, one for GSDL3. N number of sections you can create, no issue. So these are the sections for my Koha. You can see Koha ILS1, ILS2, ILS6 and so on. Okay, so let me try for harvesting of DSpace and based on here. So here again I need to change to localhost. So these are the metadata formats supported by DC. So you can see here that mark is there, XOI is there, ETDMS is there. It is increasing every day. OAIDC is there. So I have selected this one, OIDC for both Bridgestone 3 and DSpace. Now let me show you how to harvest. I am now going to for harvesting, and to show you that how it works, let me come here this harvester folder. So this is the Viewfind harvester folder. So just observe what changes is going on here. I am utilizing this OAI. So now I am moving to USR local Viewfind harvest folder. So this is the harvester component. Then simple PHP harvest UI PHP, name of the section. So what section? The name of the section, you can remember I have given DSpace. So what it will do, it will collect all metadata from, as I have not given any, here you can see here for DSpace, I have not given any collection. So all collections will be, I have not given set is equal to. So all sets will be collected. So all collections will be harvested. But in case of Bridgestone 3, I have given set is equal to. So you can restrict your harvesting to a given set. So two examples I have given. You harvest everything, and if your data repository is quite big, then you can go by set also. So both example I have tried to give in here. So PHP harvest, let's go for DSpace. The moment I press enter, you see what happens. My harvester is negotiating DSpace. So in lightning speed, all 20 records I am having there, it collected. All 20 records. Then one particular folder has been created here. You can see apart from this Koha. So DSpace. Under DSpace, all the material came, all 20 documents. So this is in XML format. If I open with the browser, you can see this is the metadata format. All DC came. Okay. Now there is a harvest log. So what does it mean? That means suppose up to today I have 20 documents. Now suppose tomorrow I may have another 10 documents. So when I reharvest my DSpace, it will not again harvest all 30 documents. It will harvest the new 10 documents. And how it is possible? Because the moment you again give this particular command, PHP harvest for the harvesting DSpace, so it will first see that whether DSpace folder is there or not. If DSpace folder is there, whether harvester.log file is there or not. By consulting harvester.log file, it will tell you that what are the files it already harvested. So these are all different kind of handle you can see. And then it will also consult this one. Then it will also consult last harvest.txt. So which particular time this session harvested last. So after that, anything added inside your system, it will be harvested. So 10 new documents will already be harvested. It's a very simple but effective mechanism to harvest only the newer materials available. Now let me also harvest my GSDL3. The section name is GSDL3. So as I given only one set, so it harvested only 11 records for GSDL3. So you can see in the same way, harvester log, last harvest, everything is there. Now these two things, so harvesting part is over. You can see that harvesting part is nothing but creating a configuration file, then finding the base URL, and then you call the respective script. It will automatically fetch data either from local system or from any global system. So next I'll show you the global systems. So now you see comes the importing part or indexing part. Still it is not part of my view file. People still cannot have this one here. So let me try that how to import or index it. So importing means that you can see in the local import file, these are all XML files. So these are basically, we need to give that what is the property files. I have created many property files. A DSpace, one is for simple DSpace, another is for full text indexing, GIS compatibility, and so on, little bit complex. Similarly, there is also gsdl.properties. So gsdl.properties, what it does, it basically create a collection gsdl at KE, and it gives you also the gsdl URL and anything. But most important thing is that it is consulting an XSLT file for indexing. So this is called backend gsdl.xsl. Similarly, if you go by the simple DSpace properties, here also you see the same format. So it is actually create a connecting DSpace. It's not connecting the simple one. I have changed something. So suppose let me make it DSpace.xsl. The simple one. Today I am going to cover only the simple one. Otherwise, in the first of the harvesting class, you will be lost. So I am selecting DSpace.xsl. Okay. So here you can see I am calling from DSpace.xsl as an indexer file, and my collection name is DSpace at KE. So okay, so let me save it. So what are these XSL files? Both actually properties files are basically connecting to XSL files. So this is the XSL directory where oh god, okay. This is just a moment. Okay. So I kept it here. So this is the simple DSpace.xsl file. You can understand that every time I am doing some present, my experiment is going around this phase. How can we implement FRBR model inside local digital archive by using this space? So that is, this particular file is part of that experiment, but that's a very complex one. I don't want to introduce with you at this state of knowledge. So this is a very simple, indexing file. It's basically guiding that how to index, what is this one, institution, and different kind of DC formats and so on. In the same line, I have gsdl.xsl file. So now you see how I am going to index this one, both GSDL3 and DSpace, because I am now in where? Let me show you the changes also. So I am now again going to my var file. going to my view file home folder. So this is the harvest folder. Now you see, first I am going to index displays. So you see what happens now. So this is the harvesting folder of displays. Only 20 documents are available in OIDC file. So in the same harvesting folder, now let me clear it. You see what I am doing. I am calling a script file batch import XSL. Then what is my section name? Displays. And what property files I am using? Displays.properties. So as I explained that displays.properties includes the collection name as well as a link to the indexing file. And indexing file name is displays.xsl. So the moment I give this issue this command, it will find the displays folder. It will find the displays.properties folder. It will see what indexing parameters are given, and according to that indexing parameter, it will now start indexing all this XML file, and finally it will bring it into this repository. So you can see still now it is 248. So harvesting is not changing the state of indexing. First harvest, then you create a set of indexing parameter, then start indexing, then only it will be coming to the central index in Solr. So I will again come here after the process is over. So let me now give this particular command so that you can see what is happening. Now the moment I have given something, you see one particular process directory has created, and every time it is basically taking one available this one, but is, let me show whether it is reporting any error or not. Unable to call view find folder imported documents. So that means some kind of okay. Let me check whether the state of indexing has changed or not. Okay. Now you see, it's although it is reporting some error, I need to check because this is the newest version of view file. So you can see previously it was 248. I harvested 20 documents from displays, so all 20 documents added, and now it is 268. Now what is the changes in interface? Sometimes I need to clear the cache to see the change. So let me first clear the cache. Admin system maintenance. I am clearing all the cache. So the moment I clear the cache memory, you can see I have another collection now. Displays at the rate. I will be coming later on how to harvest, how to index and see the document. So before that, let me again try with Cleanstone. So now I am doing the same thing with Cleanstone. So now everything under the process folder. Now I'm going to GSDLC. Here also I am doing the same thing. Here the section name will be different. It is GSDLC and property file is gsdl.properties. It is GSDL or GSDL3. What I am here. Let me check. Local import. No, it is gsdl.properties. So gsdl.properties and the same thing happened. So there no error report is there. I need to check what error report created, but it seems everything indexed. So here also you can see everything went through the process document after indexing, and my state of indexing possibly also added another 11 documents. So it will be 279 if I refresh. 279 number of documents are there. And after refreshing, if I'm not getting something, then again I will be go to admin, system maintenance, clear the cache, and now possibly the GSTL will become. So you can see that collection name I have given GSTL at KU, displays as KU. So all came. Now user can browse that what are the documents available in GSTL. So these are the documents available. If I click the full text, it will now, user do not have to know from where it is coming. It will go to the respective system and it will bring a document from brainstorm. Similarly, if I see that displays.ku, so all the material available in displays will be there. Anything I can directly see here the metadata or can get the full text. So I don't have to go to displays as a user. I can see the metadata here, and if I think I can go for the full metadata, or I can uh, go for this one. Here you see here the IP address here I have utilized somehow, that I need to check. I need to convert it to localhost. But anyway, this is the full. It is actually now coming from this place. So you now understand that how DC.identifier or mark 856 tag can be utilized. So if I need to have the PDF file, I can access it, the full PDF file. But anyway, here I have again utilized this one IP address. I need to change that to localhost. For example, you see the moment I give here, it will not open because my IP address is different after I have changed the network. In most of the cases, my IP address stays on 8.87. That's why I have given that. But anyway, if I replace that one with localhost, it will show. So initially it will fail because that IP address is not available. Now, if I replace that one with localhost, you see now it will come from this place. So in this way, you can see that all kind of IP address, domain name, everything I can handle it here. And what is the advantage? My user do not have to go here and there. And so I can browse, I can search. Say for example, I am searching something on India. So now all free. So if India contains a document from Greenstone, it will show. If it is from Displays, it will show. If it is from all three Koha instances, it will show. So you can see the first one I am getting from library 2. It's a book. Second one is also a book. So books will be higher in number because it also shows me here that library 6 is 62 against India, library 2 8, KU idea, that is the displays, has got got 2. So the moment I see how things are available under KU idea, so it will show me that these are the two documents available, and both you can see are actually, user do not have to know. You are also not knowing that from where it is coming. But as I know that idea, I have given the name of this place in the collection file, the properties file. So I know that it is basically coming from this place. So all the identifier I have utilized, the original DOI, the local handle, and the global IP address handle. So all you can have it from here. Why it is creating map view? So it is creating map view because one DC.coverage is there. It says that this document is actually covers the Bardhaman area, Purvostali area. This is the coordinate line. But anyway, that is a different issue and under experiment. So this is the entire harvesting and indexing process. Today I have shown you how internally I can organize everything through a central index. So next day I'm going to show you the same technique, how can I apply to collect data from different external resources. Okay, so that's all for today. If you have any question you can ask, otherwise we can call it a day.
স্যার বলছি ওই দুটোর সময় আমি কখন কল করবো?
শুনতে পেলাম না, কে
স্যার
বলছো?
বলছি সায়ন্তিকা বলছি।
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ বলো।
ওই দুটোর সময় আপনি কল করতে বলেছিলেন তো, দুটো তো বেজে গেছে, কখন করবো তাহলে?
একটু মিনিট 10 পরে করবে।
আচ্ছা ঠিক আছে।
ও না, তোমার ফাইলটা তো আমাকে দেখতে হবে, তাই না?
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ স্যার।
তুমি আমাকে তাহলে 4টে নাগাদ কল করো, একবার দেখে নিই আমি, নাহলে তোমাকে আর কি বলবো।
ঠিক আছে।
ওকে চলো, আমি বন্ধ করছি আজকে।